Hello, lone wolves. The transformation of a man into a Sigma male is never a spectacle. It doesn't happen in the heat of battle, in the throes of heartbreak, or while scrolling through Instagram quotes featuring lions and mountains. Instead, it unfolds in the quietest, most unremarkable moments, in an airport terminal, in a half-read text message, in the suffocating silence after a phone call that ended too abruptly or not soon enough. This metamorphosis isn't about the world wounding him. It's about the moment he realizes he no longer needs the world's approval. Not its praise, not its permission, not its fleeting spotlight. From that second onward, he stops chasing. He doesn't walk away to prove a point. He walks away because there's nothing left worth pursuing. What most fail to understand is this. Becoming a Sigma male isn't a choice. It's a side effect. A side effect of being lied to too many times. By love, by society, by the people he trusted, even by himself. And for those ready to embrace this transformation, there's something more. The Sigma's black book of untouchable power, a forbidden archive of secrets that molds men into figures of unshakable strength and silent dominance. But be warned, this knowledge is fleeting, and the elite don't want it in your hands. Secure it now before it vanishes. Chapter 1. The betrayal that rewired him. The scar that doesn't bleed, it burns. Every Sigma male carries a scar, not the kind that bleeds, but the kind that smolders beneath the skin. It's the permanent imprint of the day everything changed. For most, it begins with betrayal. A woman who discarded his loyalty, a friend who sold him out, a boss who gutted him with a corporate smile, or a world that promised fairness but delivered deception. A regular man believes in the system. He trusts handshakes, late night, I love you texts, and the illusion of reciprocity. But then comes the moment, a betrayal that doesn't just break him, it rewires him. He stops, expecting people to save him, waiting for recognition of his efforts, apologizing for being misunderstood. He realizes something profound. He was never a problem. The cage was the faces of betrayal. Maybe it was the woman who took his devotion and traded it for a man with less integrity, but more Instagram followers. The job that dangled promotions like carrots, only discard him with a pink slip and a handshake. His own family, who conditioned him to be polite, obedient, and soft, then mocked him when the world spit on his kindness. It doesn't matter who lit the match. What matters is that he let the old script burn. From wounds to weapons. While most men spend years licking their wounds, the Sigma transforms pain into armor. He doesn't seek closure. He becomes it. No more pleading for understanding from those who only listen to judge. No more explaining his soul to people who only speak in surface-level chatter. He goes dark, silent, not bitter, surgical. When he does speak, his words carry the weight of a man who has walked through fire and emerged with ice in his veins. The unexpected gratitude. Here's the paradox. He doesn't hate his betrayers. Not anymore. Somewhere deep in the place that used to shatter, there's only gratitude. Because without that betrayal, he would have remained a regular man, comfortable, compliant, blind. And the Sigma? He'd rather walk through hell alone than sit in paradise as a puppet. So if you're wondering whether you're on the path, ask yourself, has life betrayed you deeply enough yet? If the answer is yes, then stand up. That betrayal wasn't your end. It was your invitation to become who you were always meant to be. Chapter 2. The isolation that forged immortality. The silence that feels like drowning. No one prepares a man for true silence. Not the kind that comes when your phone stops buzzing. Not the hollow quiet after a breakup. But the kind that is vast, cold, and eternal. It's the moment he realizes no one is coming to save him. This is where the Sigma is born, not in crowds, not in chaos, but in absence. In the void between who he was told to be and who he truly is. The dark night of the soul. At first, it feels like death. Days stretch like shattered glass. Nights are slow suffocation. He stares into the mirror and doesn't recognize a man looking back. He wonders, is this depression? Am I losing my mind? Did I make a mistake cutting those people off? But this isn't a breakdown, it's a reboot. The submarine dive into the soul. A regular man fills silence with noise, podcasts, music, mindless chatter. Anything to avoid being alone with his thoughts. The Sigma, he dives deeper. He sinks into the trench of his own soul, explore where most fear to tread, not for thrill, but for truth. This isolation isn't punishment, it's purification, the emergence of the true voice. In the silence, he begins to hear his real voice, not the one parroting motivational quotes or societal scripts, but the primal one. And what it says is simple. You don't need them. You never did. The weaponization of solitude. He rebuilds, not for the world to see. No Instagram posts, no self-improvement flexes. He disappears like a ghost with unfinished business. And then the shift. He starts walking slower, speaking less, observing more. Where others scream to be heard, he whispers to himself. Where others need validation, he becomes his own compass. The final transformation. The moment the silence stops being terrifying and starts becoming his weapon, that's when the Sigma is truly born. The world doesn't know what to do with a man who doesn't flinch at loneliness. That kind of man is untouchable, unpredictable, dangerous in the most elegant way. Because while the crowd scrambles for attention, the Sigma commands it effortlessly, not by chasing, but by being the ultimate truth. The Sigma doesn't hate people. He just doesn't need them to breathe, and the world can't stand that. Chapter 3. The day he realized crowd was going nowhere. The moment of clarity. There comes a time in every man's life when he looks around and sees the hamster wheel for what it truly is. The endless promotions that mean nothing. The filtered smiles hiding exhaustion. The clout chasing, the likes, the shares, the performative grind. And then it hits him. They're all running, but none of them are moving. This realization doesn't come as an explosion. It arrives as a quiet, tired sigh. He stands in a room full of people, and yet feels like the last human on Earth. Not because he's superior, but because he finally sees the game and refuses to play. Where it happens, maybe it strikes him. In a corporate meeting, where everyone applauds a man who hasn't smiled sincerely in 5 years. On a night out, where people post pictures of fun, but no one is actually enjoying themselves. Across a dinner table, where he listens to gossip he never asked for, staring into eyes that haven't truly seen him in months. That's when he knows. The crowd isn't lost. They're addicted to being seen, fitting in, belonging, even if it costs them their soul. The Great Awakening. The Sigma can't unsee it now. He watches them, chase trends like starving dogs after scraps, laugh at jokes that aren't funny, shape-shift daily, polished, perfect, performative, and he realizes no one is driving the bus. They're all passengers, too afraid to ask where they're headed, just desperate to arrive before everyone else. The twisted truth. He used to be one of them. There was a time when he played the game too, wore the right clothes, said the right things, posted the gym selfies, the clever captions that curated life. And for a while it worked. People noticed. Girls smiled. Brothers fist bumped. But none of it ever filled him. Now, the crowd feels foreign, like a language he once spoke fluently but now can't stand to hear. The breaking point. That's the day a man stops being regular. Not because he's angry, not because he's rebellious, but because he's done. Done playing chess with pawns. Done begging for approval from people who don't even know themselves. Done living in a world where being liked is more important than being real. What does he do? He steps off the grid. Not dramatically. He doesn't sell everything and vanish into the woods, unless he wants to. He just stops needing them. Their validation, their rules, their applause. And that decision terrifies people. Because deep down, everyone knows the cage is fake. But most are too afraid to walk out. The Sigma, he walks out, and he doesn't look back. The rebirth in silence. Now he builds in the shadows. No announcements. No look at me posts. Just pure, undiluted growth. While the crowd spins in circles, burning out, burning up, he's learning, training, creating. He becomes still in a world addicted to motion. And that stillness, it makes noise. People start whispering. Where did he go? Why is he so different? How is he so calm? The answer? Because he's free. Free from their timetables, their expectations, the curse of being normal, the final realization. The day he realized the crowd was going nowhere was the day he decided to go somewhere real. And from that moment on, he stopped walking in circles and started climbing. Alone, unapologetically, unstoppably. Chapter 4. The Forbidden Knowledge of the Sigma Male. The Unwritten Code of the Untouchable Man. The Sigma Male operates by an invisible constitution. Laws written not in books, but in the scars of experience. These are the unspoken truths that separate him from the herd. The power of withholding. Most men vomit their thoughts, desires, and vulnerabilities to anyone who will listen. The Sigma understands that information is power, and power must be guarded. He speaks only when it improves the silence. His words, when they come, carry the weight of delayed expression, the art of strategic indifference. Where desperate men chase, the Sigma allows things to come to him. He cultivates an energy of quiet magnetism, not through force, but through the absence of neediness. This isn't pretending not to care. This is genuinely not requiring external validation to maintain his center, the economy of attention. In an age where attention is currency, the Sigma is the ultimate miser. He doesn't scatter his focus across social media, gossip, or trivial debates. His attention, when given, becomes a gift of tremendous value, precisely because it's so rarely dispensed. The psychological armory. The Sigma's greatest weapons aren't physical, but mental. The iceberg principle. 90% of his power remains unseen. What people perceive is just the tip of his capabilities. The chess mindset. While others play checkers, he's playing chess 3 moves ahead. Every interaction is a calculated exchange, not an emotional reaction. The detachment doctrine. He engages with the world through choice, not compulsion. This emotional sovereignty makes him immune to manipulation, the dark realization that changes everything. There comes a point when the Sigma understands. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to recognize your worth. No one will give you permission to be great. This realization, which will destroy ordinary men, becomes the foundation of his freedom. From this moment forward, he stops waiting. He stops explaining. He stops seeking approval. His life becomes a series of intentional actions rather than desperate reactions. Chapter 5. The Sigma in the Modern World. Navigating a society designed to break men. The modern world is engineered to create addicts to attention, validation, dopamine hits, consumers of trends, products, ideologies, followers of influencers, corporations, social norms. The Sigma recognizes these traps and develops psychological countermeasures. Digital sovereignty. While others are enslaved to notifications, the Sigma controls his technology. It doesn't control him. His social media presence, if any, is deliberate and minimalist. A tool, not a master. Financial alchemy. He understands money as stored energy rather than status. His wealth building is silent, consistent, and untethered conspicuous consumption. Social thermodynamics. Most relationships are energy drains. The Sigma cultivates relationships that are energy neutral or energy positive. He eliminates emotional vampires with surgical precision. The paradox of the Sigma male. He exists in a fascinating contradiction. Alone but never lonely. Observant but rarely observed. Powerful but never power-hungry. Disciplined but never rigid. This paradox makes him an enigma that society can't categorize, and therefore can't control. Chapter 6. The Sigma's Legacy. Beyond the alpha/beta dichotomy. While the world obsesses over alpha dominance and beta submission, the Sigma transcends this false binary. His hierarchy is internal. He competes only with his former self. His victories are private milestones. His growth is continuous but invisible, the quiet impact. The Sigma's influence radiates not through loud proclamations, but through the strength of his example, the consistency of his actions, the mystery of his presence. People may not understand him, but they feel his energy and it changes them. The final truth. Becoming a Sigma male isn't about getting women, making money, gaining status. It's about something far more profound. The complete reclamation of your sovereignty. It's the journey from seeking being, needing choosing, Reacting, creating. Following, leading yourself. Epilogue, your invitation. This isn't just a story about some mythical Sigma male. This is your potential waiting to be unlocked. The path isn't easy, but it's simple. Face your betrayals. Let them strengthen rather than break you. Embrace the silence. It's where your true voice emerges. See through the illusions. Recognize the hamster wheels for what they are. Build your inner fortress. Develop unshakable principles. Walk your own path, regardless of who follows or understands. The world needs more men who dare become unbreakable, untouchable, and ultimately free. The question remains, will you answer the call? Do you resonate with the ideas I shared in this video? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you're interested in more content about Sigma males, explore